So we've seen how to detect, identify and classify animals, but we need to do something to protect them. So how do you bring in a real-time intervention? Today, every 15 minutes, an elephant is killed in Africa. And at this rate, in just about 10 years, they may go extinct. So there are several foundations around the world which are working solely to conserve elephants. And the attempt is to make them safe so that our children can continue to enjoy their company. So they're quite adorable. So a quick quiz for you. A second one. Can you spot the elephants here? If yes, how many? That's fine. Any estimate is okay. Okay, yeah, 8. That's a pretty good estimate. Any other guesses? We'll find out what the model says. So this is an actual image from aerial shot from Save the Elephant Foundation. So they fly light aircraft which takes a series of pictures across the entire African landscape. And the intent is to identify threats to elephants here. So we go about a similar process of model building to identify, detect and count the elephants. But there was one challenge we faced here. We didn't have enough images. We had just about 100 images which were labeled and good to use. And we've seen that deep learning needs tons and tons of data. So 100 is not a starter. So how do you solve this problem? We used transfer learning. And how does transfer learning work? If you go back to our elementary school days, how did we learn our first language? We learned alphabets, we learned words, we learned sentences, and we learned grammar to string them all together. It took a few years. But when we had to learn our second language, did it take as much effort? We were able to use the first language as a crutch to compare the alphabets, words, and all of these. And we were able to transfer the learning from language 1 to language 2. And given the similarity of deep learning to humans, the same technique could be applied here. So when you don't have enough images of elephants in the wild, you find out where you have elephants in captivity or maybe on Google. So if you're able to pull out hundreds of thousands of images of any elephant, you can start showing them to the model so that it learns how and what an elephant looks like. And then you show these 100 images as a learning on top of that so that it is able to quickly adapt. We tried the same thing and it worked. So here's what the model identifies, and you're right, it's 8, and the model is able to identify the 8 elephants in the image. So while this is a work in progress for us, there was a foundation called Lindbergh Foundation which has gone a step to complete the protection loop. They've deployed drones in Africa which does a similar job of identifying aerial shots. And additionally, they also identify threats of poaching, potential poachers or human movement. And then they try and predict the movement of humans to see when and where they might intercept the animals. And this intelligence is relayed to the rangers so that they can get to the place even before the poachers can. Imagine the kind of deterrent this can be, and this has effectively brought down the killings in the forest wherever this pilot was implemented. And this is a great way to scale and replicate this pilot around the world.